10 seconds. 10,
Copy that. 10
9,
seconds.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Folks, how you doing? You back with another hot episode of the Weekly Hit Show, the Actor Series. I got another great guest in the house today. I got my man, Kevin Brown.
What's going on, brother?
Thank you for coming through.
Yeah, my
We're
pleasure.
going to talk to this young man. He's got a lot going on with education and the radio and motivational and inspirational speaking. And man, this is what I like to bring you, because I like to keep y'all informed on what's going on, not just with what's going on in the acting world, because the acting world is what it is, acting, but this is some real life situations that we're going to be talking about today. And I'm glad that you came. I got the perfect person to do it. Kev, man,
what's up?
Thank you once again. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
Kevin Y. Brown, CEO of Legacy Thinking Labs. I'm the host of the Create Your Life series, radio show and podcast, and also the founder of Debt Free College Academy.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about all of this, and the author of
10 Ways Anyone Can Graduate from College Debt Free.
Pick this book up. This book up. You want to be debt free getting out of college? Pick it up. It's Kev, man. You got a lot going on, man. I know you, and then I was doing some research on your background and what you got going on, man. And you have a lot going on. So let's start from the very beginning, and let's get into.
Tell me what you want to know, man. I'm an open book.
Man, let's
I'm an open book.
Man, thank you. See, this is what I love. This is love on the Actor's Cut. I want to know. Let's talk about your background and how you got started and what led you to become this man that you are today. Your inspirations when you were younger, and what you went through when you were younger. Because I know it's a very motivational story for a lot of youth. You know what I'm saying, and it's very important. So if you want to talk about that some, man, feel free, please.
Yeah,
I love it.
I mean, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have if you want to get more detailed. I mean, in general, I was born crack baby in the 80s, and my mom was on drugs. And at 9 months, myself and my older sister, we went into foster care. And I literally remained there until I was 18. So, that was an experience, definitely lots of behavioral issues and things like that. And just, the thing about foster care that's really interesting about the experience is that you're the person on the outside or the inside of somebody's family. So it makes you think, and it makes you question a lot. And for me, it became a source of motivation, where I used to say to myself, I really want to move as far away from here and create the life that I want. Hence, that's why the name of my show, my radio show and podcast is the Create Your Life series, because I believe that you can literally manifest who you are and become whatever it is that you want to be. So, growing up in those different homes, I lived in about 13 different homes, 9 before I was 5. And you have these different experiences, where some people, they taking care of you because you're a check. Some people, they might actually care about you. Some people, you're only there for a couple days. And so me and my older sister, we grew up together. And when I was 10 years old, she was allowed to go back to our biological family, and I had to stay in the system. And I had to stay in the system because I showed poorer behavior than she did. And, this was exemplified by being suspended, being checked into like some mental institutions, things like that, just real troubled and just kind of headed down the wrong path. And, I had found a mentor at a Continentals of Omega Boys and Girls Club in Vallejo, and going through their different programs and trainings, over the years actually really helped me cultivate and understand that I should act as smart as I am, that my behavior should match my grades. And so that was a big lesson that I took away from there. Going up even into high school, I went on a couple college tours just to get away from my foster parents, and just to get away from the foster care experience. And in high school I played basketball. I was the homecoming king, but you go back home, man, it's still hell.
Right.
You just being treated like a second-class citizen, third-class citizen inside the house, and it does something to you mentally when you can watch somebody else do worse than you and get treated better than you. Or there's holidays and they won't feed you the food that everybody else is eating. Small things like that.
But it's just like with you though, it just shaped you and molded you, because you're like a super heavy advocate now for foster care? Like, man, I had to write Kev's stuff down, man. Kev got so much stuff. So you were just the keynote speaker in Sydney, Australia.
Yeah, at the International Foster Care Conference.
At the International Foster Care Conference. You offer the courses, how to mold a successful foster care children, the brand within, molding the brand. So let's talk about some of those right there.
Yeah, so I think, the reason why I'm going in a little bit on the experience is because, the experience, it shapes you.
Right.
And then after you emancipate, you have to do a lot of personal work in order to evolve as a person and to kind of get over that PTSD. Mm-hmm. And, a couple years after I graduated from college, which I actually did do debt-free, which is why I was able to write the book, mm-hmm. I started to dive in and do more work and kind of understand my habits and the things that were taking place to me. And in that, I was like, you know what, it's important for other foster care children to be able to see the possibilities of who they can become and that they can actually achieve. Mm-hmm. And so I started to at first I was just doing advocacy work, and then I started to take the stage and become a motivational speaker. So the interesting part is that prior to being selected to be the difference is that they literally reached out to me to fly me to Sydney, Australia to speak.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah, man, it was very humbling. It was unreal, because I would have never thought that foster care could take me somewhere like that.
Well, it wasn't foster care; it was you.
Right.
The mind that you have as that black man that you are. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I went through some things when I was younger, but I always knew in my mind what I wanted to do. Regardless of how bad I was or whatever I got into, man, I always knew when I got older that I wanted to be somebody of importance and to help other people to become important and help better other people's lives too. So that was just one of the situations. But you have been you your whole life.
You're right, man. And I'm actually I'm not just a foster care advocate. I'm an advocate of people maximizing their potential and resources.
Exactly.
Period. But before I spoke in Sydney, Australia, I actually did the International Foster Care Conference in Japan, in Osaka. And so I did 2 keynotes, I did 2 breakout sessions there. And that's how 2 years later, they were calling me. So, it's that one of those situations where you got to show up and show out, and be prepared, man, and be great at your craft. But you can only be great at it by, number one, studying the craft and also putting in the hours, man. Right. And that just reigns true in everything, especially when it, in terms of creating your life, is you have to do the work. There's no getting around the work. None.
Got to put that work in. Got to put that work in.
And I think foster care, some foster care made me who I am. Like now, as an adult, once I went through that experience, it was like nothing. There's nothing you can do to me.
Right.
So like literally, you have different experiences that may be tough. When I first came to New York, just grinding. I was working. I used to be a host for MTV. Then I was working in the fashion industry for a while. And there was a point where I was homeless, man, sleeping on the train, sleeping outside. Sleeping on friends' couches all over. So I was like, bro, I've been here before. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like this is nothing. Mm-hmm. And so foster care prepares you for that. But also just that mentality, man, of really being dedicated and I sternly believe that you can do whatever it is that you want with your life, bro.
Right.
And so like that's just everything to me. Like you live on your own rules. I can do whatever I want.
Right.
If tomorrow I decided that I wanted to be an astronaut.
Right.
Or if you decided that you wanted to be an astronaut or a doctor or something like that, why can't you do it?
Right. Right.
It's gonna take hours in order for you to become good at it. You're gonna start off. You're gonna be, you might not be as good, and then you're gonna keep building up to it.
Working at it.
Right. We don't always come out the gates just killing.
Right.
So you have to work up to it. And funny enough, that's another reason why the podcast got started, is because I spend a lot of time looking at videos and researching people's work ethics. Tell
them the name of the podcast again.
The podcast is the Create Your Life series. It's available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play. It's live every Sunday on 90.3 FM if you're in New York, or WACR.org, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. But I literally spend hours of time researching people's work ethics, man. That's what matters to me, is the how, right? So if somebody, most of the times we have an interview, people say, they want to know why you do something and what it is that you do, but nobody asks the how. Like, how did you become Denzel Washington? How did you become you? You know what I mean? What do you do every single day in the morning? What's your regimen?
Right.
Because a lot of it is repetitive. You know what I mean? It's the consistency that makes the difference in a person, and that's really makes you great. And so those are the things that I research and that I pay attention to, because that's the stuff that's duplicable, and that's the how, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, man. I mean, and that's true. That's true. If you want to achieve something, like I talk to my nephews a lot, talk to people a lot. I do barbering education, so even talking to my students sometimes when I'm like, you got to get you a plan. If you know what you want to do, you put your plan in order. You start taking those steps, step by step. It's super simple. And another thing that I was reading about you too is you and me myself. I used to go to the Boys and Girls Club too.
Yeah, man.
Boys and Girls Clubs are very important, but they're starting to close a lot of them now. And I think that's really damaging to a lot of black youth, any youth, really, who rely on the Boys and Girls Club of America, any youth. It doesn't matter what color you are, because, just the educational programs that they have there and the artistic,
leadership. I think, one of the big things that the clubs offer is a safe haven.
Right.
And then there's also the mentorship. And I think that's a big thing that's oftentimes looked over. People fail to realize, like, you take somebody like LeBron James. LeBron James got a coach, right? Then he also has an athletic trainer, and then he has, a general manager. He has all these people working for him, assistants, this, that, and the other, right? Those are all pretty much like tutors,
right,
or mentors. So you have to say in your life, if you don't have a mentor, if you're not consistently learning something new from somebody else and who has done it before you and who has done it at a higher level that you want to aspire and get to, then are you really trying to be yourself? Are you really trying to be your best self?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's deep.
Yeah.
And that matters.
Yeah.
And the Boys and Girls Club, man, there were times when I didn't have anything to eat at my foster home, and I could go to the club and get some food, and you could have those conversations with adults that I might not have been able to have with my foster parents. Or you go there and you're actually treated like a human,
right,
amongst your peers,
right,
right. So the Boys and Girls Club,
too, especially growing up,
Man, the Boys and Girls Club was everything. I mean, I literally joined the day I turned 7, and when I went away to college at 18, I went every single year. Even when it became unpopular to be a club kid, I was still going because it just was instilling in me these rites of passage, man.
It's a great place.
Yeah.
And I hope that funding isn't cut to where education is hurt, and to where after school organizations like that and the Boys and Girls Club aren't hurt, because I mean, when it comes down to it, the people that are making these decisions, they're already old. They're already up there. It's these young people. It's the young people that's within our system, within our country, that's going to be making these newer decisions for us. So we want to give them the best possible start with everything that they have, whether it's inner city, whether it's the suburbs, whether you live in the hills of wherever. It's very important for our youth to really have some place of substance that they can have and go to, because a lot of kids don't. I just see a lot of kids sometimes just hanging out, and I'm like, they could be, doing something that there are, different after school programs and so forth that, that kids can go to, but it's just not enough. Yeah. It's either not enough, or they're not being promoted the right way to where, it's drawing the kids in. Because if I was a kid and I had the choice of going to a youth center and kicking it with my friends, playing some ball, exercising, working out, doing some studying, versus hanging on the street, I'm not hanging out on the street. I'm about to go do this other fun stuff that's going to help build me up. And I think if more kids saw that, if it was more of that in the neighborhood, more kids would be attracted to it, man.
Well, I think, the other thing is that people have to recognize the cycles. And for me, one of the biggest things is that I recognize the cycle. So when I was little, maybe like 10, the teenagers used to be the all-time quarterbacks when we was playing football. And then I used to watch them tease the drug dealers, tease the crackheads and the prostitutes that would be walking down the street. And then I remember maybe 2 or 3 years passing, and then they was the crackheads and the prostitutes and the drunks. And so when I peeped this cycle, I was like, it's nothing out here for me. Not to mention my foster mom had me on restriction a lot. Right. So I was like, I'm not going to be a criminal because I'm not trying to be sitting nowhere watching the sun go up and the sun go down, man. That's a wild life.
Oh, so, man, can't even imagine.
Man, I spent a lot of time on restriction. So much so, like, I'm really, like,
hey,
I'm
it did you right, because you doing it right now. You doing it, and I want to talk about your book. too, because we haven't been able to talk about this book.
Yeah, man.
And this is very important. So let's talk about this right here. 10 ways anyone can graduate from college debt-free 2.0.
Man, so that's the second edition. Man, that's the blueprint. I graduated with a free $140,000 education. I kind of stumbled into college, into Clark Atlanta University. When I got there, about 2 days in, I remember this dude coming in. I'd say in this all-male dormitory called Brawley Hall, and we were all like chilling. And this dude came up and he said, "Man, if I don't get somebody to sign off on this $20,000 loan, I got to go back home." I said, "Man, $20,000." I'm from the block, so I'm like, $20,000. That sounds like that's gonna be 40, maybe 60 if you pay it back, depending on how quick. I'm calculating interest. I'm like, man, I stood up in front of everybody. I said, "Man, if I gotta take out a loan, bro, I'm dropping out." If I gotta take out a loan, I'm dropping out.
Right.
And I said that in front of everybody, and they was like, "Oh man, you crazy." And my hall director, Dr. Raphael Moffitt, he's a doctor now. He said, "Man, don't you realize that 80% of the people here are on loans?" And I looked at him. And I said, "Man, I don't care. If I got to take out a loan, I'm dropping out." And so I made that my business to be on my grind about graduating school for free. While a lot of my friends was kicking it and chilling and, partying, chasing after girls, man, I was working.
Right.
And I think, it's one of those delayed gratification things, because on the back end, now they got to work. And I've been able to, travel to South Africa, Egypt, you know what I mean? And when I'm going these places, I lived in London for a little while, Barcelona, all these places. I'm leaving. I'm going for like 3-4 weeks because I can. I'm my own boss.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's a different lifestyle, but you have to be willing to go in and do the work. And so what I did is I comprised the 10 main things that helped me get a free education. I put them in a book so that people could have a jump start and literally the blueprint on how to do it themselves. And the funny part is that I figured all this stuff out when I got to college. It's available for parents and students.
Right now.
Before
they even go.
8th grade, you could have your kids. It's scholarships for 9th graders. And then I took it a step further because I was going to colleges across the country, and I'm in a room of 1,000 students, and I say, by show of hands, how many of y'all in here know how much tuition is? In a room of 1,000 students, I see 7 to 10 hands. They just going to college to be going. They don't even know what they're getting themselves into, what they done signed off on, basically signing their life away. And so I said, okay, how can I service more people and help more people, because I can only be in one place at one time. So I turned that into an online course called Debt Free College Academy. Super affordable. It's $49.99, $99.99, and $149.99, right? Super affordable. It's an evergreen course. You can, once you purchase it, you can look at it, review it as much as possible, as much as you want. It's available 24/7. And you can ask us any questions, but that's one of, I guess you could call it a way of giving back and making sure that other people are good if they want to be proactive, but the sad part is the majority of people don't care about student loans until they're on the other end, and then they're like, "I shoulda, coulda, woulda."
Right. Right.
So it depends on how you want your pain point.
Will follow you.
Man, you can't get rid of those things at all.
It's like a good set of luggage, student loans.
Man, it's like the best set of luggage. Heavy luggage too, because I know some people paying like $2,000, $3,000 a month, man.
Oh my goodness.
So I mean, some of the strategies that are covered in the book, number one is excel in high school. So if you can start early, then definitely make sure that you do that. But I would say also, one of my favorite strategies is build the proper relationships. Understand where people are. Who is in control of the money on your campus, and go to that person. That person should be like your mom or your dad.
Right.
That's how cool you should be with them.
Right.
They should know that you got all of the, you are eligible and you want all of the opportunities. You should go to them and let them know, I'm trying to graduate college for free.
Right.
Or at minimal cost. So that's like my biggest one. I give you all of the tips. I show you exactly how I did it. What I was doing when I was going into these offices, navigating, the different gatekeepers. Like, man, I was so cool with the administrative assistants. I was it'd be the long lines, man. I'd just be walking straight past.
Right.
Going to go say, what's up to my financial aid counselor. And then, strategy number 4, that was strategy number 3. Strategy number 4 is meet everybody halfway. And the way that you do that is by being the best student academically, in your decorum, and also making sure that you have a lot of extracurricular activities.
Yeah.
And what that does is that helps you to surpass people who may be going for the same award. Like, there was a student who had a 3.9 and 4.0s when I was going for scholarships, and I was getting a scholarship application, number one, because I was better than them across the board because all they was doing was studying.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the basketball team. I was an RA. I had, you know, a 3.5. You know, I was doing all these things, but I also had the relationship.
Right.
So I was getting hit up and being submitted for things without even knowing because they could pull my grades at any given time. That's why it's so important for you to be, you know, to have those three things.
They definitely say who you know.
Man,
You know
who
what I'm
knows
saying?
you, bro?
Right, right.
Who knows
That's
you?
even more important.
Absolutely.
Who knows you, and do
Come
they
on.
want to help you? You know what I'm saying?
Right, because
That's
they'll
very
help,
important.
man. So, I mean, that is important. Strategy number 7, mastering your schedule.
Right.
You know, they give you a course catalog when you first get to
That's
school.
very important, man, because, you know, I used to have a problem. Sometimes I still do. I can admit it. With procrastinating, man. Like, dude, man, sometimes it just be so hard. I'd be like, okay, I'm just. So that's very important. My wife always tells me, you need to get a calendar. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to get a calendar. I still ain't got a calendar.
Man, Google Calendar is the lifeline right now.
Lord, that's
gotta
what I'm
have
doing
that.
as soon as I get up out of here.
And I actually have strategies for you to sync your syllabus with your Google Calendar. I actually worked it out. There's a sheet in the book and downloadable as well that shows you step by step how to plan out. Like if you got let's say you got an exam or you got a paper that's due. Plan it out. How long do you think it's going to take you? Ask the professor, how long do you think it's going to take me? If it's going to take you 10 hours, plan them 10 hours out over the course of 3 weeks. You know, just chip away at it and then clean it up, you know, maybe a few days, maybe about 5 days before, and then clean it up a little bit more, take it to the writing lab, and then submit it. But it's no need to cram, you know, all the time.
Right.
Like, you know, we're going to procrastinate on some
Right.
things. Like, don't get it twisted. You know, like, I was definitely chilling, you know what I mean, when I was in school. You know, I'm still Ken Brown. But at
Right.
the same time, you know what I mean, you know, it's about priorities, man, and what
Right.
the dream is, you
Right.
know. And I'm one of those people where it's like, yo, if I say I'm going to do it, then it's done.
Right.
You know, like, you don't have to ask no questions. If I tell you I'm going to be here, if you ask me to be here, I say, yeah. You ain't got to second guess it. You know what I mean? Like that's the code though.
Right.
You know, because your word is your bond. So when they want to refer you for something, when they think of you, they should be like, yo, if he said he's gonna do it, it's done. Like I know I ain't even got to call Kev, remind him, nothing like that. You know what I mean? He's gonna show up early. He's gonna be thorough. He's gonna have a list of questions. He's gonna have I have all of these things that come way before
Ready.
we even touch base.
Prepared.
You know? Yeah, prepared.
Preparation is so important. You know, preparation and then staying focused on the goals. I tell my kids all the time, stay focused, because if you focus on what you need to do, then you're gonna do everything necessary to make that happen. You know what I'm saying? You got your goals, you got your aspirations in place, man. And that also goes back to, man, what you just said. That's so important. Mastering your time, prioritizing the things that are important to you in achieving your goals. Sometimes we may be doing some stuff that's not as important to us achieving our goal as we are, but mastering your schedule, mastering your time, you get that, man, you're going to be right on point, because you're going to know everything you got to do every second, every minute. You know, you're not going to be off time because you're going to be on time. You're going to be ahead of schedule. You're going to be looking 2-3 ahead of your next couple options. You know what I'm saying? It's very important.
Man, one of the biggest things to me is that you can always get money back. You know, you can lose money and gain it back, bro. Time is the only resource that you cannot regain. So you got to go hard in the paint. There's no dress rehearsals,
Right.
as they say. And when it comes to obstacles and things like that, my motto is very simple. It comes from my alma mater, Clark Atlanta University. Find a way or make one, period. If you want it, go get it. Otherwise, shut up. Shut up, because you're just talking.
Shut up or man up.
Man.
One or the
Shut
other.
up or put up.
Right. Got to.
Yeah.
Kev, man, this has been great having you down here on the show, man. Go ahead and give everybody the information for the podcast again. Give them your websites. Give them any information that you want them to have to get in touch with you and to be able to, you know, work with you and so forth.
Okay, well, absolutely. You can follow me on all social media at Kevin Y. Brown. For the radio show, createyourlifeseries.com or cylseries.com. We're live every Sunday, 5:30 to 6:30 on 90.3 FM in New York City or WACR.org. You can also watch us live in the studio on my Facebook live feed, and that's facebook.com/KevBrown1. If you're looking to go to college for free, my book is available on Amazon, 10 Ways Anyone Can Graduate College Debt Free. Or you can go to Debt Free College Academy, which is what I strongly encourage you to do, and purchase the online course and really continue to go through it and take it with you to college, man, and through college. And, you know, maximize your potential and results, man. Whatever you want in life, you can literally do. Create your life.
Right.
I'm a living testament.
Right. Very important. And, you know, now that I know that I can graduate from college for free, I think I might just go back.
As you should.
I think I might just
You
go
got
back.
the blueprint in your hands.
Oh, man, this is wonderful, man. And like I said, this is very important. You know, I love having, you know, guests like Kev come down because, you know, there's so much that we're doing as a people, as a race, as a whole mankind, you know what I'm saying, that people, it's really one of those times right now where a lot of people are unifying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's one of those times right now where we see everything that's going on, just like with the gas attack in Syria yesterday. That was horrible, you know, but people now are unifying, man, and it's good to, you know, have good people down and giving out that information, because some people get information and keep it. You know what I'm saying? They don't share the knowledge. You know, I am not about, you know, not sharing it. If I know something, if I can say anything or do anything for anybody that will help them take a next step to getting closer. I ain't saying I got to help them solve their problem, but if I just even say one thing that helps them get over a little something to be able to take that next step, I'm all for that, man, because like I said, I got kids, man, and it's important.
Yeah.
And I'm for the youth. You know, I'm for the youth, and this is very important, and I'm for everybody. I'm for everybody. I want everybody to do well in life.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I like to have this outlet to where I can have guests like you come down and let people know what you do, because it's important. You know, and it's nothing but love.
All day.
You know, and shout out to our mutual friend Gordon Gecko for hooking us up.
Definitely. Thanks, Kev.
Yeah, Kev, that's my dude right there. You know what I'm saying? So, man, what else can you just drop some couple little knowledge on the people out there real quick. Just give them some good motivational, you know, speaking real quick that they can take with them and, you know, keep with them. You know what I'm saying?
I would say, man, the biggest thing right now is pay attention to what you're putting in your head. You know, what you're listening to. You're listening to different music and stuff like that. It's cool, man, but you really want to control your thoughts. So I would say, you know, listen to some positive audio, listen to some, you know, to some nature sounds and things like that. That's been something that I've really been doing, man. And then really starting your day off with a power hour, being in control of how your day starts.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that is so powerful.
It's very important, right?
So powerful. It's literally changed my life just by doing that. So I say, you know, start the day off with that power hour. Make sure that and also what you eat. Please research your diet, man. I'm like vegetarian now, and I'm working towards just going like eating raw foods, man. But stuff like that matters because we want to live for a long time, man. And, you know, creating your life is really about, you know, you want to be 50 and 60 agile, you know, being able to play around, you know, with your kids or with your grandkids or however, man. And so, you know, health, wealth, and wisdom. You know, you want to be healthy, you want to be wealthy, you know, get your bread up.
Health, wealth, and wisdom.
Wisdom. And you're going to get that wisdom. You know, some of it you're going to be bumping your own head, and then some of it you also going to be, you're going to learn from other people.
Right.
You know, and that's really where you get the game from. That's what we call it in the Bay. I'm from the Bay Area.
Right.
Vallejo. You know, the game. You got to get game.
Right.
From your OGs.
Right. E40.
All day.
My man, E40.
All day.
Yes, sir. Sick with
water. Sick with the records. With a pig on my necklace.
HUBERT GUY, Kevin Brown.
Yes, sir.
The Actor's Cut.
Yep.
Peace. Awesome.
Cool.
That was dope right there.
That was fast. Oh, I just walk with the mic.
A lot of people do that. Oh, I don't know. Okay. Come on, man. That clock start going, man. That time goes quick.
Yeah.